Every person who rises to greatness does it for one simple reason. They understand that life bends for the one who refuses to quit. The law of averages is the silent force behind every triumph, and it whispers a truth that cannot be denied. The more you act, the more you attempt, the more you stand back up, the more life is compelled to reward you. Every call you make, every move you take, every effort you repeat increases the probability that success has no choice but to knock at your door. Most people stop after a few setbacks and wonder why results never come, but champions push through the numbers until the numbers break in their favor. When you persist with unshakable certainty, the world yields. When you show up again and again, the odds shift. When you refuse to bow, doors unlock. Do not waste another day expecting luck to save you. Force the law of averages to work for you by acting with unwavering discipline and unstoppable consistency. Your breakthrough is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of pressure, repetition, and the relentless will to move forward until success becomes the only outcome left. The law of averages always rewards consistent action, because life bows only to the one who shows up again and again with unwavering determination, refusing to let fear, hesitation, or temporary failure slow them down. When you move relentlessly toward your goal, the universe cannot ignore you. It is forced to shift, forced to return the energy you have invested, forced to respond to your persistence with opportunities that others never see. Most people wait for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment does not exist. Only action exists. Only effort exists. Only the repeated push forward exists. That is why the law of averages is the greatest ally of anyone who chooses to keep going long after everyone else stops. Every attempt increases your probability of advancing. Every repetition increases your chances of winning. Every step forward multiplies the likelihood that results will eventually appear, not by magic, but by mathematical certainty. Those who rise are not the ones who tried once. They are the ones who tried so many times that the world simply ran out of ways to deny them. You must understand that success is not a mystery. It is not a gamble. It is not granted to the lucky, but to the persistent. The law of averages makes sure of that. If you keep knocking on enough doors, one must open. If you keep planting enough seeds, some must grow. If you keep taking enough swings, you must eventually hit. If you keep speaking your goal to life and backing it with action, the circumstances around you must eventually shift in your favor. The average person quits after a few failed attempts and then wonders why life does not reward them. But the individual who commits to consistent action understands that the numbers only work when you do. The moment you stop, the law stops working for you. The moment you hesitate, the probability freezes. The moment you dwell on fear instead of action, your chances collapse. But the moment you act again, even when tired, even when doubtful, even when uncertain, momentum is restored. Success belongs to the one who refuses to break, because every rejection brings you closer. Every failure filters out the weaker version of you. Every setback sharpens your hunger. Every disappointment increases your tolerance for resistance. And once your tolerance becomes greater than your obstacles, you become unstoppable. When you keep showing up, the law of averages works like a silent engine, slowly shifting numbers, slowly tipping odds, slowly moving you from the realm of maybe to the realm of inevitable. You do not need brilliance. You do not need perfection. You do not need gifts that others don't have. You only need a level of consistency that others are too weak to maintain. Understand this: success is not a one-time push, it is a repeated push. A daily push, a disciplined push, a push that continues when motivation fades, when excitement dies, when comfort calls. The law of averages rewards the grinders, the builders, the fighters, the ones who repeat action until their results compound into something unstoppable. When you take one small step every day, the numbers accumulate. 10 steps become 100, 100 become 1,000, 1,000 become a destiny. You do not arrive by leaps, you arrive by relentless inches that eventually stack into a mountain no one can overlook. Consistency turns effort into certainty. Repetition turns struggle into mastery. Persistence turns dreams into outcomes. And the truth is simple. If you take enough shots at your goal, you cannot lose forever. Eventually a door will open, a connection will form, an opportunity will appear, a breakthrough will erupt. This is not wishful thinking, this is the law. It is the mathematical guarantee of human effort, but it only belongs to those who act ruthlessly, those who stay committed long after the initial excitement fades, those who care more about progress than perfection. If you want results, move. If you want transformation, show up daily. If you want the law of averages to serve you, become the person who never stops giving it numbers to work with. Your life changes the moment you realize that your success has never been a matter of chance. It has always been a matter of how many times you are willing to try. Keep giving the law of averages something to reward, and it will. Every time, every day, without fail. The more you try, the more you win. Numbers always favor persistence because life is built on a simple truth. Effort repeated enough times becomes unbeatable. Every action you take becomes another strike that chips away at resistance, another swing that increases your odds, another attempt that pulls success closer whether you see it happening or not. Most people fail not because they're incapable, but because they stop too soon. They give effort in short bursts and complain that the world didn't reward them instantly. But the person who tries again, who refuses to back down, who keeps adding attempts to the scoreboard, becomes someone the universe cannot ignore. Persistence multiplies your chances more than talent ever could. The one who keeps showing up will always outrun the one who shows up only when they feel like it. Every time you rise after failure, you increase the probability that something will break in your favor. Every time you push through discomfort instead of escaping it, you widen the gap between yourself and those who quit. Every time you step forward, even with doubt in your chest or fear in your mind, you cast another vote for your future. People love the idea of success, but avoid the repetition required to earn it. They want the result without the grind, the reward without the numbers, the destination without the miles. But the law is the law. The one who tries more eventually wins more. Nothing powerful is built in a single attempt. Nothing legendary is created through convenience or ease. The world yields to the persistent, not the perfect. Understand that persistence is not about dramatic effort. It is about steady, repeated, consistent effort. It is not about waiting for motivation. It is about acting even when motivation dies. It is about treating every attempt as another step closer to the inevitable. When you commit to trying again and again, pressure builds on your behalf. The odds start shifting. The path begins clearing. You move from maybe to likely, from likely to inevitable, simply because you refuse to stop. Talent may open the first door, but persistence breaks down every remaining door. Skill may give you a head start, but persistence ensures you finish the race. Luck might appear once, but persistence manufactures results again and again through sheer numerical force. When you persist, failure becomes fuel. Rejection becomes redirection. Obstacles become training. The more you endure, the stronger you become. The stronger you become, the more unstoppable you grow. And the more unstoppable you grow, the more life bends to your will. That is why trying again is never wasted effort. It is the investment that compounds the fastest. Every attempt teaches you something, sharpens something, develops something. People who stop trying think they failed. People who persist understand they're simply working through the numbers until the breakthrough appears. You are not unlucky. You are not unworthy. You simply have not given the law enough attempts to reward you yet. The results you want are already waiting for you, but they require a certain amount of tries, a certain amount of courage, a certain amount of persistence before they can be unlocked. and you never know which attempt is the one that turns everything. It might be the 10th, it might be the 100th, it might be the 1,000th. That is why you keep trying with fierce determination, not because every attempt will succeed, but because the numbers guarantee that enough attempts will create success beyond anything you imagined. The more effort you put into the world, the more opportunities become available to you. The more risks you take, the more rewards you stumble into. The more times you refuse to stay down, the closer you walk toward the life you are fighting for. Persistence is the great equalizer. It destroys excuses. It exposes weakness. It reveals the ones who truly want the outcome. You cannot lose if you refuse to quit. You cannot fail if you insist on trying again. You cannot be denied if you keep knocking until the door breaks open. When life sees your persistence, it eventually steps aside. Attempt after attempt, step after step, you become a force the world must reckon with. You do not need to be the smartest, the fastest, or the most gifted. You only need to be the one who continues. The more you try, the more you win. Keep increasing your numbers. Keep adding attempts. Keep rising after every fall. Your victory grows more inevitable with every move you make. Success becomes inevitable when effort becomes relentless, because nothing in this world can resist a mind that refuses to back down and a spirit that refuses to slow its pace. When you commit to pushing forward regardless of doubt, fear, exhaustion, or obstacles, you shift from wishing for success to forcing it into existence. Relentless effort does not negotiate with circumstances. It does not wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, or the perfect conditions. It moves, it acts, it grinds, it repeats, and through that repetition you become a force too powerful to be ignored, too consistent to be overlooked, too driven to be denied. Most people treat effort like a momentary burst, but the ones who rise treat effort like breath, something they do constantly, naturally, automatically. When effort becomes your default, success stops being a possibility and becomes an eventuality. Every day you show up, you strengthen the chain that connects you to your goals. Every time you take action despite fatigue, you harden your will. Every time you push beyond comfort, you reinforce the identity of someone who cannot be stopped. Relentless effort is not loud, it is not flashy, it is not fueled by excitement. It is fueled by commitment, by discipline, by the quiet understanding that greatness is earned through repetition, not through occasional sparks of motivation. Most people rely on inspiration to act, and that is why they remain stuck. Inspiration fades, but relentless effort endures. When you work, whether inspired or not, you pull ahead of everyone waiting for the right feeling to start. You stop living by emotion and begin living by decision. Relentless effort transforms your weaknesses into strengths, your uncertainties into clarity, your doubts into confidence. It allows you to outlast challenges, outgrow limitations, and outperform your former self. You break barriers not because they disappear, but because you develop the power to push through them again and again. The world does not hand victory to the most talented. It hands it to the most persistent, the most disciplined, the most consistent. You cannot beat the person who never stops. You cannot discourage the person whose effort does not depend on mood. You cannot delay the person who rises every time life tries to knock them down. Relentless effort rewrites your destiny in your favor. When effort becomes relentless, failures stop being failures, they become fuel. Setbacks stop being obstacles, they become direction. Challenges stop being threats, they become training. You learn faster, adapt quicker, grow stronger, and develop an unstoppable resilience that makes success not just possible, but guaranteed. Relentless effort builds momentum, and momentum is a force that multiplies everything you touch. One disciplined action today becomes 10 tomorrow, and 10 become 100. Momentum builds power, and power pushes you into territories you once doubted you could reach. People often ask why some individuals seem to achieve everything they set their mind to. The answer is simple. They never stop. They don't dabble. They don't experiment half-heartedly. They don't put in effort only when life feels easy. They commit fully, consistently, relentlessly. They understand that progress is not achieved through occasional bursts of excellence, but through constant, unwavering action. They keep pushing even when results are invisible, because they know that the process itself is shaping their future. They trust the grind because they know the grind never fails the one who stays loyal to it. Relentless effort destroys excuses. It silences doubt. It eliminates hesitation. It prevents regret. When you work with relentless intensity, you never have to wonder what if, because you are too busy creating your what's next. You become the kind of person who commands results instead of waiting for them. You become someone who shapes their life rather than someone who reacts to it. You become the architect of your destiny instead of a spectator in your story. Success becomes inevitable not because the path becomes easy, but because you become unstoppable. The challenges remain, but your will becomes stronger. The obstacles remain, but your drive becomes sharper. The setbacks remain, but your comeback becomes faster. Relentless effort builds the version of you that success has been waiting for, the version that no longer hesitates, no longer fears, no longer doubts, no longer slows down. Keep your effort relentless. Let your consistency define you. Let your discipline separate you. Let your actions speak louder than every excuse you once believed. When you refuse to stop, success has no choice but to meet you. Relentless effort wins every time. And when you embrace it fully, your victory becomes only a matter of time. Every rejection carries you closer to the breakthrough, because each no you face is not a wall, but a direction, a signal pushing you toward the moment where everything finally clicks. Rejection is not the enemy, it is the sculptor shaping your strength, sharpening your focus, and toughening your resolve. Most people crumble the moment they hear no, but the ones who rise understand that rejection is proof of movement, proof of effort, proof that they are in the arena where real growth happens. Every rejection strips away doubt. Every rejection removes the illusion of ease. Every rejection forces you to evolve into the version of yourself capable of receiving the success you're chasing. The breakthrough isn't ahead of rejection, it lives on the other side of it. And only those who endure the sting long enough ever reach that side. When you treat rejection as progress instead of failure, you become dangerous. You stop personalizing it. You stop surrendering to it. You stop letting it shrink your ambition. Instead, you absorb it, learn from it, rise above it, and throw yourself back into the fight with even greater hunger. Rejection refines your strategy. It exposes weak points you must improve. It forces you to grow in ways comfort never could. Comfort protects your ego. Rejection builds your character. Comfort convinces you to settle. Rejection pushes you to stretch. Comfort keeps you still. Rejection drives you forward with fire in your chest and a sharpened purpose in your mind. Without rejection, you would never discover what you're truly capable of enduring. Understand this, every powerful success story is filled with rejection. Not one or two, but dozens, hundreds, sometimes thousands. The only difference between those who succeeded and those who quit is simple. They kept going. They outlasted the sting, the embarrassment, the frustration, the doubt. They pushed through the pain until the path finally opened, and yours will open too, but only if you stop treating rejection like a final verdict and start treating it like a stepping stone. Every no you collect builds the momentum that eventually forces a yes. Rejection is a numbers game, and persistence is the strategy that wins it. Rejection also reveals how badly you want your goal. Anyone can remain committed when everything is going well. The real test is what you do after the door slams in your face. Do you turn around and walk away, or do you knock again? Do you give up because your pride feels bruised, or do you return stronger, sharper, more determined than before? Rejection exposes the weak. It elevates the strong. It clarifies who is serious and who is merely interested. If you push through the emotional weight of rejection, you become unstoppable, because nothing external can break someone whose inner will refuses to bend. The beautiful truth is this: every rejection is temporary. None of them define you. Not a single no has the power to erase your potential. But every rejection you survive increases your strength, your experience, your resilience. You become harder to discourage, harder to intimidate, harder to slow down. If rejection used to paralyze you, now it energizes you. If it used to hurt you, now it fuels you. If it used to make you doubt, now it reminds you that you're getting closer. That is the transformation rejection offers. Not an end, but a sharpening. Not a defeat, but a preparation. Your breakthrough will not arrive in the absence of rejection. It will arrive because you kept fighting through it. Think of every no as a mile marker on the road to success. The more markers you pass, the closer you are to the moment that changes everything. Rejection is simply part of the journey. It is not a barrier, it is a requirement. It separates the dreamers from the doers, the wishers from the workers, the hopeful from the relentless, and it is the relentless who win. Not because they never fell, but because they never stayed down. Not because they were lucky, but because they were loyal to the process. Not because life handed them favor, but because they earned it through endurance. So stand tall when rejection hits you. Do not shrink, do not hide, do not retreat. Lift your chin and recognize the truth. This rejection is not pushing you away. It is pushing you forward. It is positioning you. It is strengthening you. It is preparing you for the moment when everything aligns and your perseverance finally pays off. Keep going. Keep pressing. Keep rising after every no with a deeper fire and a stronger will. Because the breakthrough is not a matter of if, it becomes a matter of when, for the one who refuses to quit. Momentum belongs to the one who refuses to stop, because momentum is not created by talent, luck, or inspiration. It is created by the relentless decision to keep moving when others hesitate, pause, or collapse under pressure. Momentum is the invisible force that forms when your actions compound, when your discipline stacks day after day, when your commitment becomes so consistent that even setbacks cannot slow the direction of your life. Most people never experience the power of momentum because they quit right before it begins. They stop when it gets difficult. They slow down when results don't show instantly. They give up when progress isn't loud enough. But the one who refuses to stop, who pushes through the silent phases, who continues even when the world is quiet, that person becomes unstoppable because momentum rewards the relentless. Momentum is built in the moments when no one is watching, when discipline feels heavy, when effort feels unnoticed. It is built in repetition, in consistency, in the small daily battles you win against laziness, doubt, fear, and excuses. Every time you take action instead of waiting, every time you make one more move instead of giving in, every time you choose progress over comfort, you add another layer of force to your life. This force grows, strengthens, and expands until you reach a level where progress becomes natural, effort becomes automatic, and success becomes a side effect of your relentless forward motion. That is the gift momentum gives. Once it begins, it works for you, but only after you've proven that you're willing to work without stopping. Momentum is proof that persistence creates power. When you refuse to stop, you build a rhythm. When you build rhythm, you build speed. When you build speed, you build dominance. Suddenly your goals that once felt heavy become lighter. Tasks that felt difficult become normal, and challenges that once slowed you now barely touch you. You elevate yourself to a different frequency than the average person. They operate in cycles of motivation and discouragement. You operate in cycles of commitment and movement. They restart every few days. You continue every day without breaking the chain. That is why momentum belongs to you. You earned it through consistency unmatched by those who keep pausing. Every day you keep going, momentum multiplies your strength. It takes the power of your past efforts and pushes them forward with force into your future. A single action may not change your life, but daily action will. Small progress repeated turns into massive progress accumulated. You don't need to make giant leaps, you only need to refuse to stop taking steps. The steps compound, the effort compounds, the discipline compounds, and momentum becomes the engine driving you further than you imagined you could go. People will look at your success and call it overnight, but you will know the truth. It was the result of refusing to stop long enough to let momentum take over. Momentum also protects you from doubt. When you keep moving, doubt cannot catch you. When you stay in motion, fear loses its grip. When you continue pushing forward, hesitation has no room to grow. Momentum gives you clarity because action produces understanding. It gives you confidence because movement builds competence. It gives you energy because progress fuels your mind and spirit. The more you do, the stronger you feel. The stronger you feel, the more you do. This cycle is the foundation of unstoppable individuals. They do not wait to feel good to move. They move until they feel unstoppable. But momentum has one condition. It only serves the one who refuses to stop. The moment you slow down, the moment you give in to excuses, the moment you break your consistency, momentum weakens. That is why you must protect your movement with everything you have. Never allow a single day of laziness to turn into a habit. Never let a small setback become an invitation to pause. Never let emotion override discipline. Emotion changes constantly. Discipline remains constant. Momentum thrives on discipline. It dies with hesitation. Your job is to keep moving, even when it feels slow, even when it feels small, even when progress is not visible. As long as you refuse to stop, momentum is forming beneath your feet. And once it forms, nothing can match its power. You begin to see opportunities you once missed. You begin to attract results that once seemed out of reach. You begin to perform at a level that feels natural, even though it's far above anything you've done before. Momentum creates a new version of you. Sharper, stronger, faster, more focused, more determined. It pulls you into your goals with a force that feels effortless, but only because you endured the effort required to create it. So keep going. Push forward even when tired. Move even when unsure. Act even when the results are not immediate. Every step counts. Every effort matters. Every forward motion strengthens the momentum building around you, and when it finally ignites, you will understand why momentum belongs to the one who refuses to stop, because once you start moving with that kind of force, nothing in your way stands a chance. Discipline multiplies your chances far beyond talent alone, because talent is nothing without repetition, consistency, and the unbreakable will to show up when even the gifted have already quit. Talent can give you a spark, but discipline builds the fire. Talent may open a door, but discipline keeps that door open long enough for you to walk through it. Most people rely on talent like it's a guarantee, but talent without discipline collapses under pressure, fades under fatigue, and drowns in excuses. Discipline is the force that separates the exceptional from the average, the unstoppable from the inconsistent, the ones who dream from the ones who execute. When discipline becomes your foundation, your chances multiply because you refuse to be someone who depends on circumstances. You create your own. Discipline is the quiet power that transforms intention into action. It's waking up when you don't want to, pushing forward when the feeling isn't there, staying committed when your mind begs for comfort. It is the choice to build habits that serve you rather than habits that destroy you. Talent is emotional. Discipline is practical. Talent shows up when it feels inspired. Discipline shows up even when it feels broken. And in the long run, the world always bows to the person who shows up more, not the one who shows up prettier. When discipline becomes your lifestyle, your identity shifts. You stop acting based on convenience and start acting based on commitment. You stop chasing motivation and start building momentum. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating progress through consistent action. Discipline multiplies your chances because it multiplies your attempts, your learning, your awareness, your endurance. Every day you act with discipline, you expand your capacity to win. You sharpen your skills, you deepen your focus, you eliminate distractions, you move forward while others are standing still, stuck in a loop of inconsistency and regret. Talent may make things easier at first, but discipline makes things possible forever. A talented person without discipline is unpredictable, unreliable, and unstable. They can shine once but cannot sustain the shine. But a disciplined person becomes unstoppable because discipline is sustainable. It grows, it compounds, it becomes a system that amplifies every action you take. Discipline turns small steps into massive achievements, simple tasks into extraordinary results, ordinary days into life-changing progress. When talent fades, and it always does, discipline keeps you moving with force. Truth is simple. Anyone can be talented, but not everyone can be disciplined. Anyone can show potential, but not everyone will show consistency. The world is full of talented people who stopped because success demanded more than talent alone. But the disciplined rise because they refuse to negotiate their standards. They train their mind to obey their purpose, not their excuses. They understand that discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is choosing long-term victory over short-term comfort. It is choosing growth over laziness. It is choosing fulfillment over impulse. Discipline also builds resilience. When you are disciplined, you develop the ability to endure discomfort, resist distraction, and stay focused when chaos surrounds you. You strengthen your mental armor. You become harder to break, harder to discourage, harder to delay. Discipline teaches you how to grind through boredom, frustration, and fatigue, the same obstacles that destroy talent. Discipline teaches you how to rise again and again, even after failure tries to convince you to stop. Talent wants success. Discipline demands it. When you operate with discipline, your chances multiply because you become someone who cannot be outworked. You build a reputation of reliability. You gain trust in yourself. You eliminate self-doubt because you know you're doing the work daily. You don't hope for results, you expect them because you've earned the right to expect them. Your consistency becomes your weapon. Your persistence becomes your advantage. Your discipline becomes your identity. Discipline is the great equalizer. It levels the playing field. It allows the ordinary to become extraordinary. It turns the once unremarkable into the unstoppable. Talent can make your start impressive, but discipline makes your finish undeniable. Discipline gives you the edge that cannot be bought, copied, or faked. It places you in a category where competition becomes irrelevant because most